things lined up.
Welcome back to the Tristen Glenn podcast. Today I'm with Danny Hartson. How are you doing, Danny?
Doing great. How you doing, Tristan?
I'm doing fantastic, man. I'm doing fantastic. Thank you
That's
for coming on the pod today.
well. Thank you for having me. It's good to be here.
Yes,
Uh,
sir. So, Tristan, wait. Tell the people what you. Tell the people. Introduce yourself.
well, my name's Tristen Glenn. I'm a 20-year-old photographer and filmmaker, or starting out to be, trying to just get the work I can do in. I'm a college student at Lipscomb University in Nashville, Tennessee. I'm going into my junior year. Done a lot of work with that, but just been invited to do this podcast and excited to see what Danny's got for me today.
Yes, sir. I have absolutely nothing.
Oh,
No questions.
well,
Uh, sorry.
no, you're good.
No. How did you get into like? Well, you go to Lipscomb for photography,
Yeah.
right? So, but you started in film. Like
Yeah,
you
so
started your major
I
in film.
started in film, and what started me was I was a lot younger. My grandfather, he does a lot of motorcycle travel and stuff like that, and he had gotten himself a GoPro
Yeah.
and used it on one of his trips, and then kind of just after a while ended up giving it to me because he never really used it. And after getting that first camera, it was just little GoPro Hero 3. Changed everything, just started shooting anything and everything that I could. Which was kind of just like a really big thing for me because like just having a camera that to start with, like no matter how good it was, just got me into the motion of like just having something, hitting record, and then just like later on then like taking everything that you did have and just putting into one, really kind of like set this kind of like fire that I was like, this was like really cool, like I can like see something and like put it into my how I want to see it and how I want to show it to other people, which was like really fascinated me, which really got me to want to try and do it more. And then later on, my grandmother, she then also was in photography in college and had a camera that she had in college, who then she passed down to me, which got me more into photography too, which I liked a little bit more because there's a lot of time consumings and like time constraints when it comes to film, which can be a really hard time, especially for me because I'm really bad at like time management. So I've come to like photography more because I can do that a lot faster. But yeah, that's where I kind of started with it all, and slowly just progressed into more and more things, which is really cool.
I got you. What do you usually shoot for photography?
What do you mean by like shoot?
I mean, you said earlier you do it just like as a hobby right now. So
Yeah.
like what do you take pictures of?
Oh, okay, yeah. So a lot of the stuff it doesn't really like really depend on like what I'm wanting to shoot. It's kind of whatever I feel like shooting in the moment a lot of the time. I've done a lot of like senior photos for people. I've done a lot of landscape and just also just some portraits every now and then. I try to have a very like wide variety of lots of different things that I can shoot, just to have like knowledge on how to shoot like all these different ways to just be as well rounded as I can. But like out of anything, I do like being able to shoot like landscape or like any kind of like animals or anything like that, like out in outdoors. I was out west in Wyoming 3 or 4 weeks ago, and I had one of my film cameras out there and just taking photos of the wildlife and be able to like know how to like keep your distance from them, but still be able to line up a shot and make it look really clean, like you're almost standing right next to them. Is a really hard skill to be able to do, which I learned pretty quickly, which was really fun to try and figure out, and got some really cool photos out of that.
Nice. Uh like what photos did you get?
Well, yeah. So, like for example, there was this one that I got. There was we were in Yellowstone, and there was this buffalo. We were like first coming into the park, and there was this buffalo that was sitting like in this like flower field, like it was facing like the Yellowstone Lake with all the mountains in the background. And it was a little bit ways off the road, but I was able to like hop out of my car and then walk up to it and just angle it so like the bison could be like right in frame, like right in front, but like you still had this really pretty landscape in the background, which I yet to actually see. I'm in the process of developing that roll of film to hopefully get it back. But from what I remember taking that photo, it was like a really scenic photo, which was really cool to take. And just trying to be able to get where you could like really clearly see everything like on the foreground of like the bison with the flowers was like really something crucial that I wanted. So just trying to angle that all right was really like really cool to do for just like one of the shots that I was doing.
That's cool. Do you remember that senior trip that we went on like
Uh,
2 summers ago?
the one to out to Gatlinburg
Yeah,
with all the guys. Yeah,
yeah. Didn't we see a bear or something?
yeah, dude. When what? Yeah, we did see a bear on that.
Yeah, that
When
was crazy.
that was a while ago, which is weird to think
Yeah,
about. Like, because like going into my junior year of college now, like it makes me feel like I'm like time has flown by. Like senior year of high school, yeah, that was only 2 years ago, but like that was 2 years ago. Like seems
yeah,
like so long ago at times. But
yeah,
that
for sure.
trip, I do remember like being out there. I remember where was that bear at? Because we,
I
well,
don't know. I know we went to North Carolina to hike one day. Or we went on a trail that was like through Tennessee
oh
and
yeah, we
North
went on the
Carolina.
Appalachian Trail. I'm pretty sure, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so it
But
was.
I'm pretty
I
sure
I couldn't remember if we saw it on the.
we saw it on the road though, I
Yeah, I
think.
wasn't sure if we saw it on the road or if we. I couldn't remember if we saw it in the cabin or not because I remember that cabin that we were into was like one of the sick cabins that I've been in Gatlinburg because I haven't
Yeah,
like
Kevin was cool.
yeah they had the whole 3-story setup had all the
Yeah.
guys in there we were
The
all
hot tub was
goons
filthy though.
yeah dude the hot tub hit I wasn't that no
No, the hot tub we had at the cabin was filthy.
oh was it
Yeah.
oh then the one I'm thinking
But we
of
went
this
to
past
but they
trip
had
that I went
another
on
they had like a pool
oh
like for
okay
everyone and they had a
yeah
hot tub.
oh yeah because we all went into that pool later that was
Yeah.
and you had like the lookout
Yeah.
over the field yeah
Yeah, that
um
one. And then yeah, and then we were all like sitting in there and then Derek looked at the landscape as the sun was setting and he's like, "Man, this is why I need to move to Europe." And then Dylan
sitting in Tennessee he's
and
like
then
oh this looks like
yeah,
Europe.
and then Dylan looks at him, he's like, "You could have it right now
You're
in
just sitting. You're
Tennessee."
sitting right here. That's I missed. I honestly like. I talked to Derek a while back. He's at Lee University now.
Hmm.
It's been a while since I've talked to him. He was a really good dude.
Yeah,
Uh,
super good dude.
yeah, he was. I remember he worked. I worked with him a few times in high school because he was on the football. Or no, he wasn't on the football team junior and senior year, but he would help and come work with us with a lot of like the film things, just to come kind of screw around with us, and he would come sit and he would be in some of our shots, which was really cool. Just to like have like another character in the show and like or like in the like the things that we were making in high school,
Right.
and he was really fun guy to talk to, and he was really good behind the camera, or not behind the camera, but like in front of the camera.
Yeah. He has that personality for it.
Straight personality for it. He
Yeah.
literally like you could put him in front of anybody, and he'd make them laugh. So he's really good
Hmm.
at that.
Yeah, for sure. Do you think you could be an actor, hypothetically? Because I could not be an actor.
Um, I've definitely done it before. Do I like it? Not really. I'm not a person to be in front of camera. I like being like behind the camera. I'm all about the technical stuff about shooting things. But if I have to, like I can always put on a face like for a quick shot or two. I could definitely never be a lead. I was in a
Okay,
musical
yeah.
once in middle school, and I told myself I'd never do that again. So I was like, I kind of was like, I'm gonna leave the acting and all the like the people who put on the show to them. I'll be the one that captures it all. And that's just kind of my thoughts on being in front of the camera. Like I can if you want,
Hmm.
if you need me to, but I prefer to stay behind the camera.
Yeah, I'm super uncomfortable in front of the camera. So the only way that I could be able to do it is if I just get to improvise and like
Yeah,
troll the people.
yeah.
But I don't think I could be like I don't think I could be like a huge actor or anything.
Mm-hmm.
I could definitely have like a sketch comedy show,
Yeah.
but I
Even then,
couldn't do that.
I'm very technical, and even then
Yeah.
with that, I'm not that good at stand up or improv. I'm very
Mhm.
like linear thinking, which is sometimes good, sometimes bad. Depends. I try to think outside the box when I can, but even then, like trying to come up with stuff on the spot, I'm always sitting there. I just blank on it half the time. So if
Yeah.
I have a script, I can play off a script, but improvising is not my strong suit.
Have you ever done stand up before?
Not in front of like a big crowd, like in
Yeah.
front of my friends as a joke.
Yeah.
But failed miserably. I dropped the mic and it just was so bad. They were laughing, but not at the things I was saying, but just at me.
They're
Which
laughing at you, not with you.
exactly, and which I'm fine at people like laughing at me. Like that's a whole nother thing. If you're able to take that and like still like learn from those and like just like take it and like take it as a joke too with yourself, even if they're laughing at you for your stupidity. I think that can still be funny and like you're still at least entertaining people in that way, and that's how I see it too, which is really cool. Comedy movies are definitely probably one of my favorites. We We watch a lot of different comedies. Like we were watching, or we've also been watching. Like I've been watching a lot of different shows and stuff, and we circled back around to Band of Brothers. If you've heard of that, it was I believe I don't think it was ABC. I don't remember who the program it was through, but the story about the World War II and like the D-Day soldiers and like it was just kind of like it's kind of like more of it's kind of like a live action documentary. So like they have like the actual soldiers who survived like telling the story, and then they just like painted the picture like in like a live action, which was really cool to see. Very graphic too. So for anybody who does watch that, be wary of like you will see some very gruesome guts and some shots that are like will make you sick if you're not prepared for it. But
Damn.
that's we've been watching a lot of that. Big Jeff Dunham guy, if you know who that is, the
No.
ventriloquist.
Okay.
He I think he blew or he got famous on AGT or America's Got Talent, and then from there has kind of gotten really big. But I watched him since since high school, and then also follow along with Burt Kreischer, if you know Burt Kreischer,
I know Burt
the
Kreischer, yeah.
Machine.
Yeah.
He just had the new movie that came out, which I yet to see it, but from the reviews I've heard it's like it's good for a comedy, but could be better as a movie.
Okay.
And so follow along with him a lot. I listen to a lot of
Is that the one where he's like the Russian dude or whatever?
yeah. So have you seen like his skit or like I don't know? He swears that it's a true story, but it's a very long stretch. So I mean, and he carries it on. So I mean, it could be true. But the whole story, if you haven't seen it, is goes on a trip with his college after taking Russian for 4 years and then not learning a thing. Because the teacher's like, I just need an extra student to like be able to teach this class. So like, I'll give you a C if you just stay in the class.
That's
And
awesome.
so he stayed in the class, and then she was like, if you like stay in the class, we'll take a trip to Russia and you can go along. He's like, okay, sweet. Goes into Russia, and then during the time it was like very big on the Russian mafia, so they hired some like bodyguards to watch him, and him being kind of like just I don't know if he was in like any fraternities or anything like that, but just like a guy that liked to drink, and he's like in Russia, you're thinking, oh, like the Russians
Yeah.
like to drink vodka and all this other stuff. So
Mhm.
goes up to him with like a bottle of vodka to the two like guards for them, and was like, I am the like didn't know any Russian and ended up screaming I am the machine to them, and then just outdrank them all. And so like
Okay.
he just kind of became a legend with all like these gangsters like in this story, and in the movie or like in his if you go back and you can watch it, he like talks about like he ended up robbing a train like that was full of his classmates, and then when the cops showed up to the whole scene, like they were just like the cops were like, "Oh, you're the machine. You can come drink with us now," and like kind of like just let him off the hook. So like there, it kind of seems like a tall stretch, but I mean it is a funny skit, and he does a really good job with it. And the whole movie is like after that whole set or like that whole like kind of thing, the Russians then come back for him. So it's like more of a
Okay.
fiction movie,
Yeah.
but it's like the Russians come back and they're like, "You stole this from us when you robbed that train. Like we
Yeah.
want it back. You need to come get it back for us." And like that's the whole like idea for the movie. Like it seems like it's a really well filmed movie. I just think there are a few things that I do think, from what I've heard, that people would want to see more of with that. Which I still need to see it before I can put my honest review on it too. So
Okay. I'll probably check it out.
yeah,
Do you know Theo Vaughn?
I do know Theo Vaughn. Living in Nashville, Theo Vaughn's almost all over the place. Like you can run into him at like any time, which is crazy.
Yeah. I spoke to him on the phone when I worked at Home Depot.
Okay.
I was in order fulfillment,
Okay.
and he bought a Christmas tree, like a fake Christmas tree, and then I called him
Mhm.
because like all the orders have the person's name on them.
Yeah.
So we were just like dicking around, like just chilling, and then we like look at this Christmas tree and it says Theo Vaughn on it,
And you're just like, hold on, is this the Theo
and
Vaughn?
we're like nah, there's no way that's the real Theo Vaughn. I'm like, all right guys, let me call him real quick,
Find out.
because it has his phone number on the tag and everything.
Oh, so you technically could have had Theo Vaughn's number.
I have Theo Vaughn's number.
You have Theo
I can
Vaughn's
sell
number.
it. No, I'm kidding. I'm not gonna do that to him. But I did call him, and he was like, "Hello," and I was like, "Is this Theo Vaughn?" And he's like, "Yeah."
Because the sigh
And
of
I
a
was like-
celebrity getting called out. Yeah.
He's like, "Damn it, not another one."
He's like, not another one.
And I
Not,
was
not
like-
another one. He's gonna bug me for the rest of my life.
And I was just like, this is the Home Depot. Your Christmas tree's ready for pickup. And he's like, okay, thank you. Like,
He was probably relieved. He was thinking that it was some kid just trying to like call him and just like prank call him or something. You're like, oh no, it's the Home Depot. Your tree's ready.
I just want to hear his voice. Is that weird?
Do you want to listen to the soothe of Theo Von's country?
I just wanted to prove to everyone that this is the real Theo Von.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
hey, that is true. You gotta. I mean, hearing and seeing is believing.
Yeah. Also, Dave Mustaine bought some crates from us.
Really?
Yeah. It's Dave, you don't.
I don't think I
yeah.
know who that
Dave
is.
Mustaine's not extremely famous, but he's like one of the founding members of Metallica.
Oh, is he? Okay.
Yeah, he was
'Cause I
like.
feel like I had
yeah.
heard that name, but I
He
didn't
was
know
their,
anything about
He was
it.
their original lead guitarist, and he got kicked out for some bullshit, and then he started his own
Okay.
metal band called Megadeth.
Okay.
So like
I've heard of Megadeth
Yeah.
before. So.
he's like the lead singer of Megadeth.
Okay.
So like Metallica and Megadeth, their subgenre is thrash metal.
Mhm.
Thrash metal.
Yeah.
And like every big subgenre has like a big four bands or a big
Mhm.
three or big four. So Metallica, Megadeth, Slayer, and Anthrax are like the big four
Mhm.
of thrash metal. And
Yeah.
he's like the founder of two of them,
That's
which
cool.
is kind of cool.
That's really cool. And
Yeah.
It's funny, like just even like the amount of people that you can meet through like just like working just like retail jobs, even like or
Yeah.
like anything like even Home Depot. Like I worked at the North Face for a while, and I ran into and like talked to Toby Keith, the musician, and like
Yeah, that's cool.
like and which was like absurd because I'm just working my normal job as a college student, and then Toby Keith walks into our store and he's like, "Hey, can you help me find like this jacket?" I'm like, "Yeah, let me help you real quick." Like, and that's one thing. Like, I try like especially like for me too, if I'm trying to like work with other like well-known people, like I try to not treat anyone like they're like they are like they have a higher status like as a musician they have like a lot of fame with that, but I try to not like make that a big thing if that's like something I'm talking to, like, or if I'm
Yeah.
talking to them, like I don't want to be like, oh my gosh, you're Toby Keith, like will you like sign this, or like let me talk to you, like I want to get a photo with you. I'm like, oh, you're just another human being. Like, yeah, you've made music, like and you've made a lot of really good music too, but like it's like I don't want to make you feel like you're like this whole other person, you can't like live a normal life, because that's like one thing I hear from a lot of people that I've talked to that have like been well known. They're like, I just want to like have a normal conversation with people, like I don't want to just be like the person that's like standing up getting photos or like signing things. Like I just want to have a normal conversation with people. So like that's what I try to do a lot of the time. Like I've met a lot of other people too. Like I met not even as big, but like I've met Luke Combs before. Had a very small conversation with him. But then I've also met like for some smaller ones, Larry the Cucumber from VeggieTales. He was my professor and my advisor, and I've sat down and like I've had coffee with him and like lunch, and I've had a lot of conversations with him, which is really
Larry
cool.
the Cucumber.
With Larry the Cucumber, the Larry the Cucumber, which I know that's like VeggieTales, like
the Larry boy.
the Larry. It was funny. My first day in the film department, he prayed over our class in the Larry the Cucumber voice, which was really threw a lot of us off.
So that's like a comedy sketch in it.
It's almost this comedy sketch on its own. And then like through being at Lipscomb too, I've met a lot of like Christian artists and stuff like that. Like I've met Mercy Me, like that band. I've met I'm trying to think. Who are some other people that I've worked with? No, that's the thing. I've worked with a lot of other people, like bigger names, which is really cool. And that's like a whole nother thing that opens up with like being in film and photography, is like you're trying to work for all these people that are like have built stuff for them too, and you're trying to like try and work your way up to like your own kind of like fame for it too, which is a whole nother thing. But that's another really cool thing. A lot of the people that I have talked to, like they also love to like give advice to help people out, which is really cool.
Have you worked with any famous people?
Most famous I say I've worked with. I was in contact to work with as a PA, which is just a personal assistant on a set for what was it? I'm blanking on his name right now. the Christian artist. To crap. Hold on, I gotta look this up. This is bad. I have them saved and I can't remember. I'm really bad at names sometimes.
It's all right.
Toby Mac. That's who it was.
Oh,
And it was
really?
Toby something. I couldn't remember what.
Yeah.
But I was. He was shooting a film down there, and he was shooting. Can't remember the name of the film. It was one of the. I think it was the one. I don't know if you saw the trailer for it. Of the boy who like fell through ice and like survived
yeah.
through it.
Yeah.
He was down there. I'm pretty sure working on that film. Or there was another one that I can't really remember on. But he just like I had some close family contacts with some people that knew him personally, and so he was like, "Yeah, if you want to, you can come work with me on as a PA and just like come down, work on the set, see what it's like down there." But ended up not being able to just for other reasons. But was in contact with him, and like I have his number saved. I just don't. That's bad that I have his number saved and can't remember his name. But yeah, that was probably I never like officially worked with him, but almost. That's probably the biggest name that I've almost worked with. So
That's cool.
yeah, very cool.
Uh, it seems like everyone says Nashville is like the country music capital, which it is.
Oh yeah,
But
for
is
sure.
it also the Christian music capital? Because, I mean, I don't really see that being advertised or anything.
No, and
But
that's
I
a
hear
thing.
like so many of like the biggest Christian artists are like in
Yeah,
Nashville.
I mean that's actually a really big thing that a lot of people don't talk about is
Yeah,
like Nashville is really big in the country music or not country. It is
Christian.
big in the country, but it is
Yeah,
big in the Christian music
yeah,
scene because almost all the people that are in big Christian music are in Nashville too. Because also
yeah,
Nashville is also just known for being the music city, like music city of the world. So like
yeah.
like there are so many
Of
different
all
musicians.
genres.
Exactly. And like there's so many different musicians, but like even then like uh, Toby Mac, and then there's also there you have Mercy Me. I know is based in Nashville every now and then. Like at least I know they have a spot in Nashville that they're in a lot. And that's the thing. Like, there's just so many. Like for music, Nashville is such a big thing, and I think a lot of, and that's even the thing too is like it's growing for film and photography too. Like I was reading something a few days ago where I read that Nashville is like now like in the top 5 for hotspots for photography and videographers, and that's just because of like all the different like venues for concert photographers and videographers.
Mm-hmm.
And there's also like a ton of weddings that have been happening in Nashville too, which is a big leeway for like photographers and filmmakers. Is like a really good gateway to get into it, as a lot of people love doing wedding photography. So like no end to what you can do photography and film wise in Nashville, which is really cool, and I'm very lucky to be in. But like it's nowhere like obviously you hear everybody talking about like for like film and movies like oh LA's where it's at, like California that's where you want to be, like if you're trying to be film or do anything big you have to like that's one like big misconception I feel like a lot of filmmakers and photographers like think about is like oh I have to be in like these big hot spots, but in the end like really I've come to learn like you really don't have to be in those hot spots. Like you can get a very big like head start on a lot of people starting out, which is really cool. But like you can still get to where you need to be without having to be in those. And like even one day, like even
Mm-hmm.
if you follow up and like go into those spots, like you can grow so much in those too, which I'm
I
very
mean,
lucky to be in.
yeah. I mean, yes and no. I agree with you in some ways, and not
Mm.
in and others. Because like you and me, we've grown up in Middle Tennessee,
Yeah.
so we are in a hot spot. It might
Yeah.
not be as big as LA or New York, but it is definitely a hot spot.
Oh, for sure.
I definitely do think that like if you're in like un, if yeah, I mean depending where you are,
Hmm.
like let's say Minneapolis for example, just for the sake of argument. I don't know if this is like factual or not, but just for the sake of argument,
Yeah.
if Minneapolis is a if they have a lot of film
Hmm.
or photography and you're from Minneapolis and you're thinking about moving, I'd just say stay there
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But if you're from like fucking, I don't know, Montana,
Yeah.
like yeah, you should maybe you don't necessarily have to move to LA, but you should move to
Yeah.
like Nashville or Atlanta or
Yeah.
just any city that you prefer.
And yeah, and that's the thing too. Like that's where a lot of people like you find your niche for what you want to do as like a photographer and
Yeah.
videographer, and that's one thing you want to try and find a good niche where you can like excel at and like you can really stand out in. Just like so you have that firm standing ground and you can build off of that. But like, and that's the thing. Like, it's always good to move into those hot spots. Like later on, as long as like as you start to grow, if you want to progress even more, like that can be a very good gateway. I've come to learn to like, and like I'm in a hot spot, so I've been able to have that gateway from like the get go, which is really nice. But like even with that, like if I was like that's one thing for me. If I'm in Montana, like Montana is great for like landscape photography. If you're trying to like get into that, like think of like the things that
but
you
I'm
are.
talking like networking.
Oh,
And
and yeah,
stuff like that.
that's the
what I'm
also the
saying.
big thing is network. Like that's one big thing too is just networking, having those connections.
Yeah, that's kind of what I mean by like a hotspot. 'Cause
Yeah.
there's like so many people in Nashville and Atlanta, which are like smaller than LA and New York.
Yeah, but
So
they
I'm
are
saying-
packed with people and like packed with people you can like talk to and connect to, and like just start talking to random people. Like don't be afraid to
Yeah.
like to talk to people is like
Honestly.
the big thing too.
Yeah.
Because like worst they can say is like, hey, I don't want to talk to you right now. Like they might be like, yeah, there could be things worse, but like
Rejection's part of life, though. It
rejection
builds
is part of
character.
life, and you learn from it, and like you can grow from it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's like a really like thing that I've been very lucky to have is like being able to like have a lot of connections. So trying to think, yeah.
Word. Are you?
Yeah, sorry, that was a bad transition right there. But continue.
No, I only take bad transitions.
I mean, hey,
I have to do a lot of
transition is a
editing.
transition.
I have to do a lot of editing for every episode.
Yeah, and that's a whole nother thing. Editing, I hate editing.
Yeah, I
like,
don't like it either.
I
sucks.
I would never be an editor. Like there are times where like you can like really enjoy it and like you get in the rhythm and you're like, okay, this is gonna like look great. This is gonna be great. Like I'm excited to do it. And then you're sitting there and it just starts dragging out. And like the more work you put into it, like you're just like, I'm ready for this to be over. Like and like it.
But once you get into the flow state, it's fine.
Yeah, once
like,
you get into the flow.
Yeah, like for this channel, I mean, it depends on the week-to-week basis, but like, you know, I had a week where I had like an interview every single day.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna shoot the interview with this person, then prepare for the next interview, do that until all the interviews are done, and then like spend 2 days just editing.
Yeah.
Like the 5 or 6 videos or whatever it was.
And like that's the whole thing is like I was saying before, it was like with like time management was like the big thing with like having like that with like the work you do is you have to have like a schedule. You have to have a plan. Like you have to set out time, be like, okay, this is when you need to like have this done. Like you need to like be on top of all of that because like it can like you even then like you can have this time aside, but even then it can take sometimes something can go wrong. You have to start back from scratch. The amount of videos that I've had that like have like I've gotten over halfway through editing and then I either forget to save or like something or my computer crashes and then like I have to start back from ground zero, and it's one of the most brutal like things, and you're just like, this sucks. Like that not like really sucks, but you're just like this is like one of the hard moments, and you have to like you just got to get in the habit of making sure you have everything like planned out so like nothing bad like that happens too. So
Yeah, but editing is a really good, at least video editing is a really good skill.
Oh, it's a
There's
really
like,
good skill
There's
to have.
people that there's like people that are hired by like big YouTubers and they just edit their videos.
Oh,
and
yeah.
and that's like their whole income.
Oh yeah,
They
and
make
like
bank.
being able to do that and having that, because there's like you can hear from me saying like there's not many people that like love like editing that much or like can do it like so like well and like quickly, and like especially for like YouTubers, like there's some YouTubers like that are like pushing out videos like 2 to 3 a week and like having to like be able to stay caught up and like be able to get through that takes a lot of like commitment to like really love editing. And I can never see myself doing that. Like I have some friends like from film, they love to edit. Like they like if they've told me like if all they could do is just edit, they would. And I'm like,
Mm.
I'm not that person. I'm the person that I like my hands on with the camera. I like being able to like be in the shot, and then after that I hand it to the editors and I'll let them work their magic. So
Mhm. That makes sense.
yeah. I'm definitely not the editor type, but I can if I need to, but I'm definitely not.
Are you okay? New topic. Are
Yeah.
you like big into like? Are you paying attention to like the film scene, like the greater film scene? Like, are you seeing movies? Are you
Yeah.
paying attention to like smaller directors or anything like
Yeah,
that?
so I could definitely do better on it. I try to stay caught up with most like movies that come out. Like I was telling you before, I went and saw Oppenheimer by Christopher Nolan the other night.
Yeah.
Really, really good movie.
Did you watch
Christopher
Barbie?
No,
Did
I
you
did
watch
not.
Barbenheimer?
I did not do Barbieheimer. My roommates did. I had
Oh,
work that
okay.
night, so I could only see Oppenheimer. But
I mean,
uh,
if you do Barbenheimer in one day, it's like 5 hours.
it is literally 5 hours. That Oppenheimer movie is 3 hours with the 2 hour Barbie movie on top of it. It's
Yeah.
absurd. But I mean that alone broke film records too. I don't know if you like stayed caught up with that because I think that's like the first like in either first ever or the first in a while that had that many like movies back to back in the first week have people buy tickets to that many movies back to back like or like
Okay.
so like there was I think last time I like read something about it, it was like they had over 20,000 people who bought a ticket to either Oppenheimer or Barbie also bought tickets to the other. So like that's what
Yeah.
created the Barbieheimer phenomenon, as you probably heard about. Um,
Well, Barbenheimer was a meme for like a long time.
Yeah, well, no,
That's
yeah,
why
it was a meme at first, and that's like
when I
where the
saw it.
funny
Yeah.
thing. But even then, that meme actually coming into fruition with people actually doing it,
Yeah.
like like crushed like records for the film because like they
Mhm.
like it's very rare that you see that many people go to see such completely opposite movies back to back and also like that also released in the same week. Like a lot of the time people like would not do it all in the same day. And that's like where the whole thing is, like where so many people bought to see both in the same day, which is like a really big thing for like theaters. One, because after like COVID, theaters were really struggling. I don't know if you stayed caught up with that at all.
Yeah.
But like that was a really big thing for like theaters and like also just like the movies in general. Like the fact that like over 20,000 people bought tickets to see both back to back was like crazy to like movie makers.
Mhm. Yeah. So, but are you like who are your favorite directors? Let's start there.
So directors, my top favorite is he is a director. He's more into photography and cinematography. But his name's Jimmy Chen. He's a documentary and like photographer and cinematographer for or what used to be Nat Geo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, rip Nat Geo.
Rip Nat Geo.
Um, but he was a big documentary guy. I still
Mhm.
follow him. He's really good. He won an Oscar for the movie Free Solo. If you heard about that one, about the guy who climbed El Capitan in Yosemite, free soloed it, which is like no ropes, which is absolutely insane. But he did a really good job telling the story. He
Mhm.
worked on the project for 5 years and then did a really good job telling the story. But he's probably one of my favorites. Then not coming back around to Oppenheimer, but Christopher Nolan's probably one of my favorites. And then also for just like other than just like film and directors like photographers is I follow him a lot just on YouTube is Peter McKinnon. If you've ever heard that name, he's a pretty big YouTube like he's influencer for photography on YouTube, but I still follow him for like a lot of his work with photography. He does a really good job and does a lot of stuff like to explain more stuff in photography. So like he's really good for like tutorials if there's something that I'm trying to figure out myself that I can just go look him up and like usually he has what I need on there. So I like to follow him a lot too. And he's worked on a lot of like music videos and stuff too. But yeah.
Nice. That's cool. What are like your long-term goals? Yeah, just like long
Yeah.
term goals.
Well, that was one thing that like I was trying to figure out a lot, like going into college. Like we are still like college kids. We're in our 20s. We're still trying to figure things out. Like that's what people always say. Your 20s is like your time to figure everything out, which I'm still trying to do. But my end goal is to be able to hopefully be able to try and like have like a like an income from like doing what I love, which is photography and film, like where I can live off it and provide if I have a family one day, where I can still continue to do it and still be able to provide for one myself. But if I do have a family later down the road, so like that's my end goal, is to be able to have that. But like more foresight, like coming in like sooner, is like I want to be able to out of college be able to have my photography and film to a point where I can start like traveling for it. I plan on out of college living on the road for about a year or two and just shooting solely photography and film and just like doing freelance for the first year and a half that I'm out of college, just to like try and see how I can like flow into that kind of like domain of work, which is like that's a whole nother thing. Like you see so many people, like especially if you like watch like TikTok or Instagram Reels or anything like that, and you follow any like people who travel. Like that's a really big thing that a lot of people are doing right now. So trying to like, you can do it really easily and you can start it really easily. It's just like trying to get the traction to like have it continue and like stay consistent is the hard part about all that.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to like make a movie or anything like that? Like direct a movie?
That's one thing I've thought about is like I don't know, like I think it would be absolutely insane if was able to make like my own movie,
Yeah.
but like at the same time I just don't know what I'd make it about. Like
Okay.
I'm the person, like I want to also like later down the work like the road, like with the traveling, like and like doing the work, I also want to work for, like I was telling you this before, like I wanted to do work with like athletes, like with like snowboarders, like downhill mountain biking, like even like my goal since a kid was to always work with Red Bull, like and be
Okay.
sponsored by Red Bull,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and I've wanted to, like I wanted at first as a kid to like continue doing like either like snowboarding, motocross, or like like any of those sports that they sponsor, and just keep doing those to a point where I can get sponsored by them. But just being in school, I never like stayed really committed to those, which I've come to realize. And there's people that are so much better than I am on all of those. So I'm like, well, Red Bull still sponsors film and photography people, and I still love to do that. So like, I thought about trying to work later down the road, see if I could ever get hired by Red Bull or even Monster to like work with their athletes and shoot stuff for them. But that's like another one of my small goals that I have if I ever check that one off.
Do you drink a lot of energy drinks?
Not anymore as much as I used to. I
Yeah.
used to like be heavily like addicted to those energy drinks. I would
Yeah.
like in high school and like going into college, I would have at least one or two Red Bulls a day. Like
I had a friend that would drink like 3
yeah.
Monster, like those Monster juices. He
Oh
would
yeah, the
drink like
Monster
he'd
juices.
drink like
Those are
3
good.
of the orange ones a day.
Jeez.
I'm like, bro, what is
Yeah,
wrong with
I
you?
would have
You're
like
gonna
there.
die of a heart attack like
Yeah.
tomorrow.
And it's like it's bad because like even now like I've been going to the gym and I take pre-workout every now and then, which
Oh
has
yeah,
like
so
a
it has like
ton of caffeine in
it.
it,
Yeah.
and I try not to take that so often just because like that caffeine like can kill you. Like it's bad.
Yeah.
Like if you take like a scoop of that pre-workout, you feel like your heart's beating out of your chest, and like that's how I felt when I was like drinking those like, all that Red Bull and like Monster like back in high school. Like I was like, okay, like it's good to have it like every now and then, but like I'm having it like consistently, and that's a little bit too much. So I
Yeah,
try to like
for
limit
sure.
myself to like maybe like 2 to 3, maybe a week, if not less. So it's more of like an enjoyment than just like me relying on the caffeine. Um, but yeah, I used to drink a lot of Red Bulls, and like to the point where like
Yeah.
my friends were like, why don't you just have like a case in your room? Which at times I did have like
Uh,
2 or 3 cases in my room, like at a time.
Jesus.
So yeah, it was bad. Because bulk ordering is where it's always at. You
Are you
order
a
in bulk.
are you a big coffee guy?
Um, Not as much.
Hell yeah.
My buddy is. He's
Yeah.
very big into like the art of coffee too. Like he likes to
Oh,
like
he makes his own stuff.
he
Little
tries to.
barista.
Yeah, he has just like a Keurig in his room, like because he like if he's in a hurry, he just pops one in real quick and no, you know
Yeah.
the kid, you know Hayden Lacey. You remember him?
It's Hayden.
It's Hayden. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
shout out to
You knew that
Hayden.
kid.
Yeah.
But kid's addicted to coffee, like how I was with caffeine. He
Yeah.
is addicted to that stuff. Like because he lived up in New York for about 9 months. He would
Mhm.
like he would always be telling me he literally would get like 2 to 3 cups a day too. Like the whole thing
Jesus.
with like the Red Bull too.
Yeah.
But like he likes to make his own. Has his own like French press, and he has like he's not so big into like espresso, like the art of espresso, because that's another big thing.
Yeah.
But he just likes having like his coffee a very specific way. He likes making it and like hand making it himself and like pressing it himself.
Uh,
But yeah, he drinks a lot of coffee. Like he comes over to my place and he's like, and we'll sit for a little bit. He, like we'll be hanging out. He's like, "Hey, can I make a cup of coffee real quick?" And we're like, "Go for it, bud!" Like just all you. He's like, "Yeah, I brought my own grounds and stuff like that." And I'm like, "Yeah, that figures." Like he brought back
You're like
he-
a disappointed parent.
yeah, it really is. But he also went on a. He's a great. If you want to just talk about life stories, like he's a
Yeah.
good guy to talk about life stories.
Uh-huh.
He lived. He also went on a mission trip for 9 months and went to 3 different countries, and he brought back 2 bags of coffee from each country to the
That's
States
cool.
with him. So
That's cool.
that was another really cool thing. It was to just try the coffee from all the different places too, which was really cool. But he's got a lot of stories from that. But like, dude's addicted to coffee. Like it's
Yeah.
like it's like I can't say anything because I was the same way with like Red Bulls and stuff. But like he's like where I was like back in high school, and I'm like. And he was like, yeah, I need to stop. I need to slow down. Like, this is kind of rotting my teeth away too a little bit too much. I'm like, no, you're fine on your teeth, but you're gonna kill yourself with a heart attack.
Jeez, yeah, this might be a good segue.
Yeah.
Because speaking of Hayden,
Oh yeah.
he stars in a couple of your YouTube videos
Yeah.
from your YouTube channel.
Yeah. So Hayden is been my closest friend since 7th grade in middle school. Once I met him, we just clicked. So we're practically brothers at this point. We hang out with each other all the time. I actually see him tonight, going to see a concert with him tonight. But he's just always around me. So anytime I have a camera out, he's always right next to me with another camera. He's also really big into photography, which is another really cool thing between me and him, because like that's something that we both use and we push ourselves to like get better at it. So we'll go out and we'll have like little competitions, like be like, okay, best shot wins, like, or best shot has to pay for dinner. And like we'll like go out, like going to Nashville, going to Franklin, go out into like fields and stuff like that, and just kind of experiment and like what we can take and like what we want to shoot. And then we'll have like someone completely random, like we'll send them our 2 best photos and be like, all right, which one is your favorite? And then they like are kind of like the deciding factor, and then we have those little competitions. So anytime I have a camera out, he's usually right around me, which is like he's always like kind of like my go-to. He's really good in front of a camera too. So like if I'm shooting like on my YouTube, like I made a little like some little vlogs, he's usually there, and he's usually really good in front of the camera too. So he's always just kind of been there to help like push me to do more, which is really cool. But yeah.
What was like the motivation for starting that YouTube channel?
Well, the whole idea of me wanting to go like kind of travel and live on my own, I saw YouTube as a way to like start having it as a money income if I'm living on the road, because like that's one thing is like doing freelance. Yes, you can have is really good. Freelance can be really good if you're really well known and like you can travel areas for people, like different areas, and be in contact with all these different areas. But like another hard thing is like freelance, you have to make those connections, like back to the connections as well. Because trying to like move around a lot, like you're not very consistent, and like not having consistency in some places, not many people will hear about you, which is a hard part of getting work. And I saw YouTube as like a good filler for those in between times if I were to do it. So I've thought about trying to continue to like use that and like kind of build it up more. Like I only have like 5 or 6 videos up on it right now, but like I still like want to try and like grow that more and like try and like almost make my own YouTube channel. But I put a kind of a pause on that. I throw some videos up on it every now and then, but I kind of put more of a pause on it just because I want to try and make sure I know what I would be filming and like make sure I know like what like viewers or like who would be watching it, like I would be wanting to like kind of put myself to, because that's a really big thing. I'm friends with this girl at my college. Her name's Emily Stevens. She's really big on Instagram and TikTok and has a YouTube channel too, and I've worked and helped a lot with her as well. And like that was a big thing for her too. She found like a good niche and like a good thing that just kind of clicked with her and that like got a lot of people, and like she stuck with it. Like she's really big into like big 70s and 80s like theme and like videos and like kind of living out like if a modern day 70s 80s aesthetic kind of idea. And she does a really she does a really good job with it. And she like that is one thing that we've talked a lot about, was like just having that one niche of like people that you know you're focusing your like work towards is what like really starts to get more people in, because then people that are watching you like will have friends that are also somewhat interested in the world will kind of like spread like wildfire if you can get the right audience. So like, and that's one thing that she did really well, because she started it when COVID hit, and kind of like people started just were so bored, more like, not so bored, but we're like more in home and like we're watching YouTube and like TikTok and everything like that more. So she just started posting and started getting her views from that. So that was like really cool to meet her and have that connection as well.
Nice. Shout out to Emily.
Yeah.
Are you gonna put out any more like YouTube videos in the future?
Yeah, I'm planning on I'm doing just as another little friend kind of like outing. I'm going to Panama City in the beginning of August with some of my friends from home, and I'm gonna take my camera with me and just like kind of shoot some things here and there. And that's like the thing right now. Like I'm just like shooting stuff of just me and my friends, kind of more of memories for us to have. But like I throw them out there for if anybody cares to watch them, which. Who's like, I'm like, there's no like really motive for the video. It's just kind of like if you want to watch some idiot, like some friends be idiots and just hang out and just do stupid stuff, like feel free to watch. But like it's not like really focused on anything. Like I watch I was saying, watching Peter McKinnon, his whole thing is like camera and photography and film and working with that. There's like some guys that I watch on occasion called the Sea Boys. They're out in Missouri, I'm pretty sure, Claremont, Missouri, I think. But their whole thing is like they are big on like vehicles, like motorcycles, side by sides, trucks, and like they just like just drive them around, go out on boats and stuff like that, and really kind of just like build them up, like make them into these huge like attractions or anything like that, and then like they'll like just like run them around and kind of like just run them into the ground, which is really funny to watch. And they do a really good job of doing what they do. Like they, do you know what K trucks are?
No.
So they're you've probably seen them before. They're Japanese flatbed, so it's like a 2-seater truck in the front. It's white. They're really short.
Yeah.
They bought 3 of those and then put a roll cage on one of them, and they flipped it like upside down and like rolled it over. So they just do stupid things like that, which those are always fun to watch. But like the same back to like having that like that thing that like everybody keeps watching you for is like what I'm like still trying to figure out what I want that thing to be for me. And so like right now I'm just kind of like just experimenting with anything and everything that I can right now. So.
Okay, that makes sense. Do you still watch a lot of YouTube or not as much?
Not as much as I used to. I stay a little bit like I try to. I don't stay consistent watching like the people that I used to watch, because I'm just not on YouTube as much anymore. But like every now and then I'll pop in and I'll watch some of the people that I used to watch when I was like a little bit younger, and like just see what their channels have been like growing into. Like there's some guys that I watched when I was like middle school, early high school, called the Funk Bros. They were just like doing just like dumb things, like dumb like little gags, like they'd fill a trampoline with like random things or stuff like that, and they moved on. Like one of the brothers, and they're both professional scooter riders, so I started watching them because of that, because I was really big into scootering at the time. And then like one of the brothers, he's doing like I've watched how he's built out an entire drift car, and he's doing like a lot of drift stuff, and lives out in Texas now, and like is building like this whole like grand park in his like backyard to like make YouTube videos on, which is cool to like see him grow. But like at the same time, like a lot of things with like YouTube too is like you're like audience also grows up. So like you also just like
Yeah, you kinda have to
depending
make.
you so either like you follow your audience, like the people that you were starting to watch,
Yeah.
like who started like from the beginning, like watching you. You either continue to grow like with them to like appeal to them, or you just stick to the consistent stuff and like keep making what you were making, and like
Yeah.
more people will come in. And that's usually what I've seen with YouTubers is how they usually do is they find that one thing and they just stick with it. And like their audience, like some of their audience will like grow kind of older, and they'll kind of like a lot of the time too. Like that's a one thing I watched a while back. It's like YouTubers is like they have a kind of like a split on their subscribers. Is like they have all their old subscribers who are people that like used to like first start watching them, and like they just stay subscribed and like never like unsubscribed from them. And then they have all the new people that are coming in, like the new younger kids that are watching, like especially for like channels that are like more focused for like younger kids as well. Is like you'll have like the generation like for example, like our generation that was watching YouTube, like, and we like watched some of them. Like, I don't know if you watched ever like I Ballistic Squid or like Stampy the Cat for like Minecraft Let's Plays, or like TDM, like Dan, the TDM guy, and stuff like that. Like they still do videos, but like I haven't watched them in like years, obviously, just because I don't play Minecraft or like any of those games as much. But like I think they still do a lot of their like gaming and like stuff like that. And I think there's like a big like still scene for all of that. And like I think they definitely still do a good job at like still holding up what they can, since like their old audience has like like grown up and kind of grown away from that now too.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Did you ever watch like Casey Neistat
Oh
or any
yeah,
of those
Casey
vloggers?
Neistat was probably I haven't watched him as much, but like as I used to. But all in high school, like he was one of my favorite YouTubers. He is like really cool, like to hear like his story too. I don't know if you've like watched or heard his story. Starting from absolutely nothing and just like building himself up and like starting going to New York, which is a great like spot for what he's doing too. Like he's a lot of this stuff too is he's like just tries to like bring awareness to a lot of things, which is really cool. Like just like of like things that aren't talked about, which I find is really interesting. That like, not a lot of people are like willing to like just like make small little videos about like things that not many people are wanting to talk about. Which he does a really good job about that. Or like he does a good job about like talking about different events that are going on too. So he's almost like good about like being very up to date in what's going on in the world, especially like technology wise. Like he does a lot of reviews on different technology, which is really cool. Like every now and then to try him out and like in just a normal life. And like so I've always loved watching him. And like I've watched a lot of like the works that he did with like HBO and stuff like that. And he's just grew from that, and he's just done a really good job. And I love watching him. Love to meet Casey one day. If I could ever meet Casey one day, that would be a dream come true.
Do you wanna live in the woods one day?
For a while, that was a dream when I was a little kid. I was like, I wanted to be the next Bear Grylls.
Really?
Yeah, I was big Bear Grylls guy. I wanted to be exactly. I'm like, oh, if he can do it, I can do it. So I'm like, so I like when I
Mhm.
was a kid, I would go out in the woods. I'd build little forts and stuff like that. So I could see myself. I want to end up like later in life. I low key want to end up in Colorado. Colorado
Yeah.
is kind of like just like a good hub for a lot of different things, and especially for like if I'm wanting to do like photography for like extreme athletes and stuff like that. A lot of stuff happens in there. Like I was there just last year, and like just driving right outside of Denver. Like I saw people riding motorcycles. I was on a motorcycle, but even then, like I saw other people riding motorcycles. There was mountain bikers. Saw two paragliders, two skydivers, three rock climbers, and then just a bunch of hikers everywhere too. So like, there's like a bunch of different stuff out in Colorado, which is really cool, and want to end up out there at some point.
Nice,
Yeah.
man. Well, we've been going for like an hour,
Yeah.
so I think it's a good time to end the video.
Well, yeah.
Is there any projects you have coming up that you want to plug or anything?
Um. Well, to plug yours on. If I work for your concert that coming up in
Oh
August,
yeah.
that's a project that
This will probably be out after
yeah.
that
Well,
concert, to be
if
honest.
it's after that, then hope you guys can go see. Hope to you got to see that concert if you're in
Yeah.
Nashville. can see some of the work if I'm out there working on it. If there's someone else, make sure you go check out their work. I'm sure they got a whole thing planned out for that. Also, the Inn's a really cool venue. I've been there before.
Yeah, it's great.
But other than that, just trying to really, to be honest with you, I'm working on stock photos. So just like trying to just throw out some stock photos, make some money off that. But big wise, like just watch my YouTube channel. That's just things popping up here and there.
Yeah.
Tristen.Glenn, Tristen with an E, not an A. Throw you off a little bit, but yeah, that's really about it.
All right, awesome. So I'll leave Tristan's socials down in the description. So give him a follow on everything. Check out his stuff. And don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share this video with a friend. And y'all have a blessed day. Peace.
Well, thank you guys.